Okay, we're gonna try this art journal recording thing again. This time I'm just doing doodle. So there is a creator that I saw on TikTok and I did not favorite their video, so I'm not sure who they were or if I will ever see one of their videos again. But they do do ink doodles or ink drawings on their paper and then go in and watercolor them. And I saw one that reminded me of these doodles that I used to do as a kid, where I'd just make some squiggles and swirls all over a piece of paper and then color them in. I made tons of them as a kid. And it reminded me of that, and I thought it would be kind of a fun way to fill in a page in my sketchbook. So I wet the paper down first so that to intentionally have the ink bleed and run and kind of spread around and look messy. Um, so yeah, because in this journal, I mean, this is my art journal slash memory keeping travel all the things journal, and but I try not to be precious with it, and it's okay to be messy in or make mistakes in it, because it really is about having fun and doing something that I enjoy and that I find relaxing. And yeah, so I don't worry about being perfect in it. So you will see, or maybe you can see, this this recording setup. I am not sure that it is better than the last one that I recorded with my camera. This video I'm recording with my phone so that I could place it over the top of where I was working, but as you can see, everything's very tight and crammed and squished together. So you've got the tripod legs in the way, you've got all the other stuff that's in my little space, because I have a very small little, like, this is just a little corner of a table, and that's the only space that I currently have to work. And so it's very squishy and very crammed, and you can see it's very messy looking. Um, and to and with the the way the tripod is and the light and stuff, it does not make it very easy to get my sketchbook over, like centered and easy to see all the stuff. So um clearly we still need to be working on this recording setup and try to figure out something else. I really would like to just use my camera and film overhead, but that has its own issues with being able to set the camera in the and the tripod in a way that the camera is actually over the top of me and not off to the side or at a weird angle. Um, yeah. So I don't know. Still trying things and working it out, and that's okay. Um, but yeah, and just doing these little doodles because they're just pretty mindless. You don't have to think about what you're doing. It's not about making anything specific or being perfect or even staying in the lines. Like, the paper's still wet, so the ink is still bleeding around. The watercolor paints are running around and bleeding into each other, and that is totally okay. we're just making a doodle. Um, I find these things, especially like when I was a kid and just didn't have the the knowledge and the skills and, you know, fine motor skills, whatever, all the, things to do different art, to make something different. I found making these doodles just really satisfying. And sometimes, when it was done, I would try to see if it like looked like a certain thing. Like maybe if you looked at it a certain way, you could see a duck. It kind of like when you look at cloud shapes and you're like, oh, that cloud looks like a whatever, kind of that. Um, but yeah, seeing this artist on TikTok doing these doodles just made me think of that. So if you see this and you think you might know who that artist is, or if that artist is you and you see this and you think, hey, I think they're talking about me, um, comment below, tag who you think the artist is who's creating these little doodle art pieces on TikTok. They probably create them somewhere else also, but I have only seen them on TikTok. Um, so yeah, so other people can see their stuff. Um, but yeah, they're just I like the simplicity of them. There's no really right or wrong way to do this. I'm sure if you were like trying to make a specific type of art, there's probably some kind of rules, or you have to do things in this way. And if you want it to look professional, it's got to be neat and tidy, and it's got to be this and it's got to be that, and color coordinated, and themed, or I don't know, whatever kind of nonsense that people say. Um but in our art journals, in our sketchbooks, whatever we're using, whatever medium we're working in, we don't have to be perfect. Um, Especially if you're doing kind of like I'm doing with this particular art journal. It is self expression, it's memory keeping, it's just allowing myself to create things that bring me joy and express myself in that moment on this page, or whatever, and just play around and have fun. And that is that is my only reason for doing these. I mean, maybe someday, like way in the future, when I'm dead or whatever, my kids or grandkids will look at these and be like, God, what a crappy artist she was. I never knew. Or, what a cool treasure memory thing that we have of this person's life, right? Who knows? Maybe neither of those things, because it does matter. Um, but it is really important not to get too precious about these things when we're doing them. Uh, because no one ever has to see what's in your journal, whether it's like a writing journal, diary kind of thing, or an art journal, memory keeping in that form kind of thing. Whatever you do in there, no one ever has to see it. You never have to share it with anybody. I don't share every single page that is in my book, but I'm probably going to be seeing more of these videos because I have been behind. My goal when I first got this journal was to have it filled, or almost all the way filled by this point in the year, and be getting ready to start on a new one. And I am nowhere near that. I'm not even remotely near the halfway point in this journal. So I have um, a lot of painting and doodling and whatever, to do in here. And of course, I'll be doing more pages where I put in my photography because I really love doing that too. Um, and if do a doodle or a little painting or whatever in it, and you end up totally hating it and thinking it's ugly, that's okay. If you can do like I sometimes do, and that'll be a page that I'll go back to later and cover over with my photography and stuff on it. Um, there there are no rules. How many times can I say that? I don't know. I'll just keep saying it. There are no rules in your art journal. So if you end up making something that you're like, that is awful, I don't ever want to look at that again, cover it over with something else. Just because it's there on the page doesn't mean it has to stay the way it is. Um, you can cover it over. You can stick photos over it. You can glue papers over it. You can use gesso and paint over that page completely and put a whole new thing on it. It's totally up to you. It's fine, right? And I decided I'm going to add some words to this. Now the paper is mostly dry. It's still a tiny bit damp, but not so damp that I have to worry about the ink running all over the place. Um, and the ink that I have in my pens is a waterproof ink, so once it's dry, it's there. So if you don't want your ink running all over the place on one of these doodles, you can put your ink down, then let it dry and go back with your watercolor, and it'll stay fine as long as you're using a waterproof ink. So yeah, I'm just planning out how to stick my words, and I'm thinking I was second guessing putting them in this spot because I really didn't give myself very much room for writing, but that's okay. It happens sometimes. But yeah. So let me know what you think about this kind of content and these journaling, and I will keep working on my recording setup, and eventually, hopefully, I'll have something that works out pretty well because I do love making these, and I would love to have things set up in a way that when you're looking at the screen, it's just my paper and that's it.